What's going on, guys? Gilly Del Trez here, one half of the Geektastic duo and co-creator of Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. Our debut issue has already launched with Scout Comics, and our trade paperback will be coming this time in the summer. Be sure to check that out. And I'm joined with...
Here week, Ronald Christian here, and today we're going to talk about, well, the Black Superman thing.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think they greenlit a movie. Oh, they did greenlit a new Superman movie. He's gonna be black. There's nothing wrong with that. And Ta-Nehisi Coates comes with his own controversy. And real quick, I'll just say I tried getting into his run on the Black Panther back when the Black Panther was the hottest thing out there. And I got some comics. I got his first volume, and I couldn't get into it. I wanted to after about the first issue and a half, or just I couldn't get that deep in. And I'm trying to sell it for $5, and it's been troubling. It's been trying. I couldn't get it off my hands.
Man, I got these.
Black Panther.
Man, I don't want you.
Black Panther.
Please, man. I sucked your dick. Ew.
So anyway, I'll leave it with you, Ron, because I know you've been wanting to talk about this, and I'll let you have the floor. What's going on, man?
Well, I mean, what's going on is they're doing this. Hollywood is doing what they always do. They always just want to do this race swapping thing, because of established white characters, because they're lazy and they don't have any creativity, and they just don't want to develop their actual diverse characters, their actual black characters. And DC has so many, and they already have a black Superman. That's a unique character in its own right. That is, original and unique and not derivative of Superman. And that's, we're talking about Icon,
It's a classic comic, classic take
character
on the whole Superman trope, right? Just it revolutionizes it in a really fresh way. So before we get into the Icon, because we got the image of him here, and it's him wrestling Superman. It's almost fitting because I could just see him wanting to tell his story and Superman holding him back as part of DC. Like, no, we're just gonna take your skin color, and I'm going to have all the credit. I'm just going to take your skin color, put it on what we know is Superman, and what we know is Icon will just get fully, forgotten if that's the case. But real quick, are there any other, you said like DC has other black superheroes. I'm not familiar too much with I know DC, as far as like the popular, I don't know like real, like the other deeper characters. What other black characters DC has that aren't Milestone Media?
There's Mr. Terrific, there's Vixen, there's Black Lightning, there's Bumblebee,
and then Green Lantern, right? They have one of the Green Lanterns, right?
Green Lantern, and they have a lot that I haven't even mentioned that I didn't even know about. That Eric B. July did a video on some of the other lesser known ones that are great characters too.
So there's a lot of original characters within DC's own, that they could prop up or they could kind of put out there. But the thing is that Superman there's been a disconnect with Superman. And I know the latest Man of Steel movie, had its share of gripes and there's some,
that can be a whole rant.
Right. So it's almost like the way things is going now, it's almost, easier to just make Superman black, which I don't agree with. I'm with you. I just think it's lazy. And I think that it's not engaging enough. I mean, just make him black, and now what? Like, what's your angle going to be? Because is it going to be Clark Kent and he's black, or is it just going to be
there is no angle. They're just on the name recognition. They're being lazy. The point is that they don't see any merit in any original black characters. They only see merit in white characters. So they have to change them to be black.
I mean, even though they have Icon, they say you're saying they don't have them. Do you think they don't see merit in Icon?
No, they don't, because they're not willing to put in the work necessary to do him justice, to do him right. They're not willing to get a competent writer, get a competent director, develop the character in a way that's going to make him compelling to people.
Wouldn't Ta-Nehisi Coates be considered a competent writer?
I mean, he ruined Black Panther. He completely destroyed Captain America for Marvel. So I would say he's the opposite of a competent writer. I mean, get someone else.
What put him in the position to write a Black Panther, to write Captain America? I mean, has he written an original character?
Because he has the right politics. Marvel has been on this thing where they just hire people based on their politics and on their activism for.
So he's never done anything that's superhero generated comic book. Like, he didn't make his own creator own comics, and that got on the radar. So it's straight just political activism and what he's done. Okay, yes. I'm not familiar in what he's done in that regard. I know that he did like a Black Panther story. I bought the trade paperback and I wanted to get into it.
He was also a writer on the Captain America book, and that's just all America bashing 101, like
more stuff that's okay.
White man bad, America bad kind of narrative.
Nothing heroic in any way.
Not really, no.
Okay.
No. So now they're bringing him to do Superman, and just like, why? It's just such a horrible idea. And they have this character icon that is a Black Superman that was written and created by one of the greatest comic book creators of our generation that sadly passed away. And if he saw what they're doing,
I know he'd voice his opinion. I know for sure.
Not to mention what they're doing to Static Shock in the comics now with the whole.
I haven't. The Black Lives Matter movement. I don't know what they're doing with that in comics.
Yeah.
As far as Static Shock is concerned, I haven't. The last I read with Static Shock was the original Dwayne McDuffie run collected in a trade, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That was solid stuff. I'm watching
the cartoon right now. Icon have that run, which was incredible. And really good. It's way ahead of its time, to be honest with you. It brings about racial disparity. It does, and it does it in a way that makes sense, because we're seeing it from Dwayne McDuffie's perspective as he writes Icon, and it's not in a way where
he doesn't do it in a race baiting way.
No, exactly. He has a balance. There's this. He found a beautiful balance that shows this side, that shows that side, and puts it into perspective in a way that fits a beautiful superhero mold.
Yes.
And I love that about Icon. And for me, I thought it was fresh, and I tweeted about it at the time when I read it. And I feel there should be an attempt to get that out there, get it more out there. And I think because Dwayne McDuffie passed away, and I think because there's a split in the rights and who owns what. So it's almost like if DC does put out an Icon movie, they're gonna have to split half of their rights with the McDuffie family, right? God forbid you got to split half your rights, but do it the right way and put out a great story. God forbid, right?
At this point, I think that the McDuffie estate should just take these characters back from DC. Just take them back and see what they can do on their own. See if they can come out with a publisher or something, or somebody who wants to take on these characters. I'm sure there are plenty of people. So many people that will take these characters and do them justice. So many great writers out there.
Well, everything is all about the money. DC, I'm sure, has money, and they paid whatever they paid for the rights. So, but as far as expanding and expounding upon and developing Icon further is where we're not seeing that. And it's almost like he's just tossed away in the back burner. And if they do feature him in anything, it might be more race baiting, politically charged stuff that just defeats the purpose of the heroism. And it wouldn't be striking the balance that Dwayne McDuffie did in his Icon run. If you'd read that.
Another reason I think they're not going ahead with anything with Icon is because the character is a Republican character. Remember, in the original comic, he was Republican.
Mm-hmm. That's and that was kind of like a shock, right? Like a black Republican, I think.
That was like right now the mainstream Hollywood isn't interested in putting out their black superhero who's a Republican. they just don't want to do that. You know.
Well, I mean, like I mean, that doesn't have to be a major thing in a story. I mean, you can just still have the essence of Icon and still show that balance without getting into, you know, the political aspect of it, as far as he's Republican or, you know, my whole thing is when I enjoyed Icon, I mean,
well, there's also another element that you're forgetting. Remember, spoilers for those of you who haven't read it.
Spoiler alert coming up.
In the comic book, Rocket gets pregnant, right? And she decides to keep the baby, you know, and she's struggling with whether she was going to, you know, get an abortion or not.
So these are real issues that affect America and the Black community, and he does it in a way, right?
The thing is, with the narrative in the mainstream now, they wouldn't want that story told in the way that it was. They would probably change it so that Rocket did have the abortion or something.
Yeah, and you're ruining the actual identity of the character as it was intended by Dwayne McDuffie.
So these elements for these characters don't sit well with current Hollywood.
So in that case, it's it's kind of demoralizing.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, fans go, as far as for me, that would love to see a real Black Superman in Icon. Not to say, if you make Clark Kent black, or if you just reboot Superman and make him black, not to say that won't be interesting, and not to say
I don't think it would be interesting at all. But okay,
but I'm just saying, like, you could make it. I'm just gonna say, not that Ta-Nehisi Coates is gonna make a great story. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that idea could be interesting, but it's interesting right now for the wrong reasons, because it's just all, you know, like, you know, race motivated, and that's kind of, that's, you know what I'm saying. So the way I see it as interesting is Icon. I mean, that's why, and I see it as interesting, because you got a man, you know, who's an alien, right? Who's leaving his planet, and he's an alien character that looks like an alien. Doesn't look like, you know, it's humanoid, but I think he's like silver skin or white skin. He doesn't. He's not a black, or he's not white. He's not an alien the way Superman was an alien. You know, he's not. He's an actual, like, alien-looking thing.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
Right, and he lands right during slavery, right, and he's adopted by, you know, slaves and that family, and he's raised as a slave. That's what's so cool. He has all this power, really, and he could identify
that he's not bitter or angry about it. Like, for example, you know, let's bring into the Isaiah from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Isaiah Bradley. Yeah,
Isaiah Bradley. You know,
Icon isn't bitter the way Isaiah Bradley was. He's not all angry. Like, I get that. And Icon, the interesting thing about Icon, he lived as a slave.
Yes.
And he's treated like a slave, and he has the power to just snap everyone's necks.
But he chose not to use it.
He's showing restraint, right? And he's enduring, right?
Yeah.
And in that, he identifies, right, with the Black community. He identifies with their plight going forward through the generations, and we see how he's utilized and established his wisdom to become.
Dwayne McDuffie was a writer who was able to present these themes without them feeling divisive or anything like that, like the writers do now, like Ta-Nehisi Coates does now. Dwayne McDuffie was a brilliant writer, and, you know.
So here's the thing: even though there was divisiveness and those topics that we need to understand, he talked about that. Not that he ignored that.
Exactly.
But he did it in a way where it was even keel for any reader going in. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they would feel alienated up from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like maybe some of Ta-Nehisi stuff. Like I'm just saying, I only read the Black Panther. But from what you're saying with Captain America and stuff, it seems like, and what a lot of the fans knowing his character going into what he wrote, it seems like the division, or it is controversial in that it separates the reader. It alienates certain readers from the beginning. It doesn't welcome every kind of reader and say, hey, we're going to talk about some heavy stuff, but we're going to show everything and present you to really cool story.
Ta-Nehisi wishes he had the same level of talent that Dwayne McDuffie
had. Dwayne McDuffie is was ahead of his time, man, for damn sure. And it's a shame that we lost the creator so soon, who was just in the heart of his prime and had so much potential going forward. And who knows what could have been if he was still here. Rest in peace to Dwayne McDuffie. And what we want as fans is just to see the Icons of the world, Status Shocks, Hardwares, Rocket. We love to see their stories told and kept to its original identity, it's true to who they were, ushered into this new time. But we probably won't see that because, again, we're going to get a Black Superman, and it's not Icon. It's DC hiring Ta-Nehisi Coates to write whatever comes out. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what to expect, and I will definitely be criticizing this movie. I will watch it, and I will give my 100% feedback on it, and it would be sad to know that we won't be getting an Icon movie. And for Michael B. Jordan, who's been talked about as being the Black Superman, he says he knows his comics. He says, hey, I read comic books, I dabble in that. Dude, you need to dabble in some Icon, and you need to make sure that dude gets his story told in any way, shape, or form.
Someone sent him the first graphic novel of Icon. Somebody just give it to him.
We need to champion that, man. He needs to champion that, because that's an idea that I think should be, that story I think right now should be told more than just Superman painting him black and going with that.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, this is the Geektastic duo here. Definitely like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Do you think a Black Superman that's not Icon or just nothing fresh, but just Superman as you know him, just rebooting him as Black? Does that interest you? Does that get you going? Is that something you're really excited about, as opposed to seeing the story of Icon that you might have heard of or might not, but just seeing that in the silver screen, the potential that would be? What do you think what would you like to see more? I mean, let us know in the comments. And as always, guys, be on the lookout for our next one. Till next time, guys, geek out.
Geek out.